Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Content Manager podcast. I am super excited today to have a special guest, someone who I've been following online for multiple years now. He's actually one of the first people that I met on TikTok Live. Remember when TikTok was first coming out? You can actually hang out with people on lives. And I wasn't usually consuming that much content or staying too long on TikTok Lives, but the guest here is someone who you definitely want to stick around with and talk to and get to know a little bit better. We're here with Taylor O'Brien, one of my friends I've met online, and it's been really exciting and awesome to see the kind of work that he's been able to put out. And so, yeah, Taylor, thank you so much for being here, and I'm really looking forward to our discussion today.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you had me on. I really love what you're doing, and I think it's really good to collaborate and exchange that energy and things like this.
Yeah, so Taylor and I, we were just chopping it up right before we went live on this specific conversation of, I feel like him and I both have this belief in altruism when it comes to content creation. More importantly, just putting yourself out there because many of us want to create content. Maybe we have this idea that we want to post online and we're not really sure where to start. Taylor's kind of led the way in a lot of ways like that. And when I first got onto TikTok, I saw him posting specific content that I was like, this guy's always ahead of the curve and he's just doing his thing. And he seems to have it almost all figured out, but we'll get into that in a second. But I just kind of want to say, like, thank you so much once again for being here. Um, I just want to dive right into it right away. You know, it's a crazy time that we live in with this whole TikTok situation going on. And you yourself, you know, you've been on TikTok since I think maybe even like the very beginning. I know you were on there for sure longer than me. I just kind of want to get your thoughts on, you know, the TikTok ban, kind of predictions on where you think it's going to go, and just overall where your headspace is at with that.
Yeah, man. Well, I didn't know all that about me that you had said, so I think that's pretty cool. I appreciate all those words, but I think it's crazy, and I just found out today that CapCut might be getting banned with it, and I mean, that's tough in itself because I use CapCut every day, but I think it's wild that something like that could get removed, but who knows? People saying it's not gonna get banned. You know, we got a new what's the word? Regime coming in, so it's like you never know what he could overturn. I mean, the election and all that just passed, but they contribute a lot of that to TikTok, you know, podcasts, the way they spread information. So, you know, we'll see. I don't know how it's gonna look. I hear there's alternative apps coming up, but it just makes you understand that like you can't put it all into one platform. So I think that's the biggest takeaway. We had the scares before, but this seems like it could happen. So I'm not sure. What do you think about it?
It's rough. I would say that I'm kind of concerned for a lot of those content creators who only made their brand known on
Yeah.
TikTok. A lot of people, you know, they just pick it up as a hobby and they start doing it and they end up getting successful at it.
Yeah.
But I believe that people like you and I, we kind of think more, you know, omni strategy, more multi, you know, all these different platforms. I know you and I both like to consume Gary Vee content, and something he says is like, don't just put all your eggs in one basket. And that's something that you know, you understand, you know, you post on all these different platforms, especially, you know, you have 100K on YouTube, you have a 160,000 on TikTok, but I believe that you understand the importance of being well diversified. And one thing that concerns me is that I was just talking to a friend about this the other day. I think that there's so many talented people who only create content on TikTok, and their hard skill in the market is picking up their phone, recording a video, giving their opinion on something, and presenting it
Hmm.
in a way that is compelling and gets people to listen to them. And we're about to get so many of those people coming into the market, whether it's different social medias or maybe they're going to have to actually get a real job, you know, whatever that
Yeah.
means. But that's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, that's good insight. I spoke with someone yesterday who actually just makes their whole living on TikTok. So, I mean, if they wasn't contributing, a lot of them don't have Instagram. They don't even have, you know, anything else other than TikTok. But I think if, you know, it worked one time, it could work again. So whatever you're doing in one platform, it might not perform as well on Instagram or whatever. But YouTube, you have to adapt and you have to figure out some type of way to make it work. So everything that worked on TikTok, if you had followers, then just keep pumping it into YouTube Shorts. And if you got good videos with a lot of views, don't be afraid to repost. I mean, I have videos that's done millions, and every now and again I'll post them again. And I just did that with my YouTube Shorts. I downloaded a popular TikTok because I thought TikTok was going, so did the downloading, and then I just posted it to YouTube, and it's taken off again on YouTube, and my subs are going up. So you can't be afraid to reuse content that did well. Don't worry about if other people's gonna see it again, because it gives you a whole new net of followers every time you send it. So that's something I've been playing around with.
Yeah, that's interesting. I just had something similar recently that I've been thinking about. There was a certain content creator I follow on Instagram, and she says, I typically post 4 times a day because not every follower is going to see every single time I post. Maybe you'll miss the first time I post, maybe you miss the second time I post, but that third or fourth might get in front of you because of the algorithms, right? It typically shows you who you're interested in following, and you might not see the rest of those people who maybe you don't comment on their stuff or like their stuff or share their stuff. So yes, you're following them, but you're probably not seeing their content, which is why, she was saying to post 4 times a day. Um,
That's really interesting. I never thought of that because everyone's always looking at the metrics like my most popular time to post is when my followers are on. But like you're saying, you already have those followers, so the other followers are in those other time slots that you got to be hitting. So that's really good info.
Yeah, I know that you spend a lot of time across different platforms and you have this following across platforms, but really getting your hands on to the nitty-gritty of CapCut and actually editing content yourself, would you say that that's one of your passions? Do you feel like that's your favorite part of the whole content creation process? Because I don't think that you outsource, I don't think that you delegate any of this stuff. I think that you're mostly the one doing your own publishing, correct?
Yeah, I'm pretty particular. Whenever it comes to my work, I usually have the most hands-on. When it comes to when I'm working at the firm, we have a full-time editor, and we also have basically another editor who does a polishing of like captioning and gifing and sound effects. Like we've got it to that point, but there's a lot of times where I'll just take my own and most of the times I'll do it my thing and then they'll do a different version. But I really do enjoy editing. I think editing is really fun if you're in the right headspace, but it can be very exhausting and draining. And, I used to work very laborious work. So it's like I try not to compare a hard days of work with a lot of thinking sometimes, or we feel like we didn't do enough just because we didn't move enough. But there's a balance with editing, but it's good to get out. Shoots are really stressful. I get stressed out every shoot, no matter how much I've been on. I had a drone job today, and I was just nervous as heck. And I went by another drone because I thought one might go. Like it was just, how you get in your head. But I think it's a good break if you're rolling with some stuff and you got some a creative idea and you're able to see it out. That's something that's really rewarding.
I like how you mentioned how you get nervous and you kind of stress a little bit about the shoots because the way that I interpret that is that you care. If you go into a shoot kind of lackadaisical, not really thinking too much, then it just shows that you're not really, dialed in and focused. But I definitely agree with you when it comes to shooting different content, especially if the stakes are high. Maybe you have a high profile client. Maybe you really want this shoot to go well. I think that creatives like us are really stressing every single detail, thinking, overthinking, choosing, looking over your notes 10 times. I don't know about you, but I'm like a really diligent note taker. I'm always jotting stuff down and I'm always reviewing my notes like a nerd. Um, but yeah, just wanted to go back a little bit to you had mentioned, you had hard work before this. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, how you got started into content creation and kind of what you were doing before you picked up the camera?
Yeah, well, so before this job, I worked in the oil field. I worked 7 and 7, so I was stationed somewhere for 7 days, could not leave, and I drove 18 wheelers for 2 years, and then eventually they moved me up into the lead role. So it was 24-hour call. So I had a lot of downtime, and then you get bored out there. So ended up becoming a personal trainer, and I had asked one of my buddies if he could film my workouts, and he told me how much it was going to cost, and I was like, whoa. And then I was like, I don't know if I could pay that. So then you just learn and learn. I got me a cheap little camera. It was like a point and shoot. And I'm like, man, this is not good. But I recorded my whole workout library for all my fitness clients. And then one of my clients had a really good camera and he filmed me one time. And I was like, bro, I need that camera. And so then I just started becoming obsessed with learning about the camera. I would film my workout clients. We do testimonials. and it was blowing up. So it was going good, was getting fitness clients from the testimonials. Everyone was knew like I was filming them and like it was just a whole highlight reel for 90 days. And eventually that ran its course and that was a good time. But I just started getting more camera work and ended up on the sideline for LSU football and women's basketball, and it's all landed me, a full-time job now for what I do at a law firm. So it's really blessed and really cool to see it kind of evolve, from something that was really a whole different story just 2 years ago. So I'm blessed.
It is crazy, man. I mean, you can see the growth over the 2 years. And I think one of the aspects that I admire about the content you produce and a little bit more about you is that you're not afraid to click publish. Maybe it's not done. Maybe you could edit a little bit more. Maybe you could put a little more effort here. One thing about you is you're going to ship it. You're going to ship it, ship it, ship it. And I think a lot of content creators struggle with that particular aspect. Maybe they're working on a project. Maybe they're, have something that they're sitting on, big plans coming soon. I know I struggle with that for quite some
Yeah.
time. I'm going to get this content off the ground. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But what separates you is that you publish it and you're on to the next and you're steady moving. That mentality of hustling, hustling, hustling. Is that always something that you've had that you never really struggle with, or do you feel like that's an acquired skill?
Man, it's crazy to even hear you saying that because I feel like I've been burnt, bro. Like, this whole last year I've really taken a step back. I was posting every day at one point. But last year was rough. Everyone had a rough end, and then, now it's like the new year and it's good to like want to do more, and like I'm trying to post more, I'm trying to film more, but like you're editing all the time or you're filming all the time. But I like to just relax sometimes, and I like just scroll on my phone, just chill and just not guilt myself for it. So that's kind of what I've been on because when you're creating content, you're creating it because you enjoy it. And then when it becomes work, then you got to manage ways around it. You got to think differently about it. You got to segment out certain processes of it that it just becomes monotonous. So finding that balance, I think, in mindfulness and making sure you're sharp on that end is just as important as like all the work. Because if your brain isn't working and your mind isn't there, your edits and your creativity won't be there either. So you got to take care of that first before anything else.
I like that. I like that answer a lot, especially with the mindfulness, right? I was just talking to my buddy earlier and just talking about how the importance of walking, taking care of your health, making sure you're sharp, outside of your work so that way you can produce better insights, have more clarity, and just give your best when it comes to your work specifically. One question I have for you specifically on this topic is, would you ever pick up your camera right now or just do creative stuff if it wasn't compensated? Or is that something that you were doing before? When you were trying to figure things out.
Oh yeah, man. I've done a lot of uncompensated work.
Haven't we all? Haven't we all?
Yeah, yeah. I do it because I enjoy it. I didn't think it would ever lead to this. It's a position at a place that normally requires a lot more experience and a certain level of professionalism. So it's like, how to end up here, but you just roll with it and you become obsessed with something. And if you're relentless about it, then it could really take you somewhere with anything. I feel like if you just got to be a little bit um, obsessive, have little minor goals, and put it down. Like whenever it's okay to put it down. I used to bring my camera everywhere. They'd be like, Taylor, we're just going to the store. I'm like, I know. But no, man, you get your waves and you got to ride them. When you fall off of them, you just got to float on back till you're ready. So that's just something I've been learning with all the content.
And one thing about that, I mean, working in sports, it shows you can kind of see the behind the scenes of what it takes to be successful at football or the traits or routines, habits that someone might need. And I think having that obsessive mentality of like, I'm going to improve, I'm going to get better, I'm going to work on this system or, try to get more leads or whatnot. I think that it's easy to take that for granted. Us being in the sports space, we see, kind of the work that goes behind the scenes. Do you feel like that rubs off on you being around those football players and they're, at practice and it kind of makes you want to work harder?
Yeah, I guess because you feel like they have this short period of time, and if they're gonna cross paths, like I won't be able to do the most for them. So, being around those guys, that competition to win, when they lose, you lose because that's someone like and it's like it's just you want to see the next person win. You always want to see someone do good. When you video these people, you develop, relationships with them. You're talking about them. You're asking them deep questions. You're filming them. You're editing them a thousand. You're listening to them and looking at them a thousand times a day if you're editing them. So I mean, this is really something like the competitive edge now is not for like your best work. The competitive edge now is volume. So you got to be able to constantly put out and having an 80-20 rule, if it's 80% good, just roll with it. So that's something that I've had to learn because I would like to sit on things now and polish them like you said, but I'm trying to get in the habit of like posting and just letting it go, not looking at it, not cringing. You just gotta let it out there. Somebody's gonna like it, somebody's gonna hate it. So you just gotta get it out there. It ain't up to you. Whatever happens.
Yeah, that's so fascinating because I think that, we're so hard on ourselves on, we have perfectionism when it comes to posting content, but at the end of the day, it's for the audience to judge whether it's good or not. It's not up to us to say it's if it's good. It's all about those comments of what people are saying, the feedback that you're getting. So for us to hold back and wait till, we have it perfect, that's not really such a thing. Just kind of put it out there, get some feedback, and obviously creatives like to improve, they're gonna get better on the next try. Just want to move forward to my next question. I know sports and fitness obviously have been a big part of your brand, a big part of your image, and with content, it's fascinating because of all the different categories, different pieces of content you can cover. How has the NIL and the whole NCAA space kind of evolved?
Uh-oh. I lost your audio. Let me see. I got the floor. How has your NIL space kind of evolved? I can't even see you anymore. Hold on. I hope it's. I wonder if it's me or you that's messed up. I see you recording. Well, I would answer it, but I want to be able to see you. Gallery. Oh, you bounced. I can see you now. I had to hit the view. Can't hear you. That's always how it goes. Good people. Well, that eye focus is sensitive. Welcome to the podcast. Technical difficulties. Please hold. Got a new drone today. DJI Mav 3 Pro. Looks like a YouTube video. It's really cool, really fun. Almost crashed once, only once. I was by a power line, and you're supposed to be 5,000 feet from a power line. So if I'd have hit the power line while videoing, I'd have been caught red-handed. Baloney.
Mic check.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, well, I don't know what that was about.
I ain't none.
Let's see if I can get it fixed. It's just, I think my power is it's sucking too much power.
Yeah, a lot of heat coming through that mic,
Well, for sure. Multiple ways.
killing them, spitting fire.
I might have to cut it up and be like, stay tuned for a part two at this point. You know what I mean? Leave a
We
cliffhanger.
hot right now. We hot right now.
It was good. Um,
We'll get it back. We'll get it back.
yeah, let's see here. Ooh, could it be?
Finally got an angle I like.
Yeah, it looks good. It's like even. It's
Jeez.
really evened out too.
Yeah,
I
that
remember your
light's
old
plenty.
setup.
Yeah, and then I'm moving next month, so I have another one, new setup.
There you go. Mm, mm. close this.
And
Yeah, so with NIL specifically, the last couple years, obviously there's been big changes in the NCAA. So I kind of want to hear a little bit about your insight into how that's changed your work, what you've been able to see. Obviously, you being on the sidelines, you get to see firsthand as well as inside the locker rooms, kind of how that's impacted people. I know there's been like really big sponsorships and things like that. Could you tell us a little bit about that space?
yeah, I think NIL is awesome. I think it's really beneficial for a student athlete who are putting their bodies on the line. And schools are making a lot of money off of it. So I think it's really cool to see at a time right now that it's able to provide some funds for students that aren't going to the NFL that still have to take care of their family, and they can market themselves with brands, based off their name, image, and likeness. So I think that's really cool. I think it really ups the notch for content creation, content creators. I was just talking about this with someone about, athletes that are growing up right now. Not all their friends are athletic, but some of them have a camera. So, if you got a buddy with a camera, I'd keep them close. And the same with the camera guys. If you got some athletic friends, get around them because you guys could really do something. You could really create content, and it could get you paid literally now. So it's cool to have relationships with players in business, and I would like to see it go down into high school eventually one day. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Have you got a chance to look through like the portal and how you can work directly with a college athlete? Like there is a portal, right, for this if a brand wants to get in contact with a specific athlete.
Yeah, most of the athletes you can probably just contact them personally. A lot of them have their own agents. A lot of their moms and dads will manage them. But there is certain entities that allow you to like sign up and attach to a player. But any business, any local business, they can literally sign a NIL deal for any type of advertisement, social media post, and you're supporting the student athlete. So it doesn't have to be really anything too crazy. Anybody could market with an athlete if the athlete can make monetary value, support his family, support his college, and I think that's pretty cool. They can do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to bring this up like 10 years ago that college athletes would be getting paid, I mean, it'd be kind of mind-boggling. I'm still kind of shook that there's all this opportunity in this space and you seem to be right there, really closely attached to this kind of stuff. So it must be really exciting to be around that.
Yeah, it's really cool seeing the development. I got a good buddy, Jordan Arsamal, and he's a recruiter over at LSU, and like just seeing the evolvement of things that have happened, and just from the start of NIL when it first broke, So it's been really cool to watch the kids come up and go through different, you know, seasons of their lives, and go all the way to the top. And so it's just been interesting to see the development of that because players are coming and going a lot more frequently because of NIL. This was something they were worried about, but I mean, with everything, you're gonna have good and bad. So I think it allows, you got to have good morale, good relationships, and the dollar always speaks. It seems with the way things are, but not all of them are like that. Some are, hometown boys, and they ain't worried about all the flashy stuff. They just want to win a natty at Baton Rouge. So
Yeah, it totally makes sense. I know we've been going for about close to a half an hour, but I want to ask a couple more questions and then we'll go
yeah,
ahead
you
and
could.
wrap things up. Um, with 2025 already here and we're quickly going into the new year, there's so much advancements and things going on in the space, content creation, marketing, AI, a lot of people this buzzword and people are implementing it and I feel like in our work specifically, there's so much to learn about, right? There's always something you can learn, strategy, marketing, automations. And so my question for you is kind of what excites you most about the time that we live in?
Mm, that's a really good question because coming off of like a burnout type of year, and then seeing like TikTok's going away. I feel like the views are down. It excites me because it's we don't really know what's gonna happen. We don't really know when our next video is gonna be. We don't know our next best idea. So I mean, I guess it just is the part about just living life and seeing how it just takes you in ebbs and flow, because we try and like plan everything out. We try and like set this goal and we're gonna get it like that, but we know how life takes us all over. And so I think just rolling with it and spinning off of how life is handling things towards you, I think like that's gonna be the way of content creating, more documenting. It's just I feel we're gonna have to adapt. We ain't gonna have CapCut to make cool little stuff real quick. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm sure we're gonna figure it out. I think that'll be cool to find out.
Awesome, man. I mean, I like that approach. It's a lot more down to earth. You're not really too obsessed over, what's the future look like and what's going to happen. You're just kind of taking it day by day, slowly but surely, and being present with everything.
Yeah, that's something I've been working on really hard with.
I'm curious, what's your screen time average right now?
Ooh, I don't know, man. How do I find that out? Yep, well, I got I wonder if that counts like my computer.
Hmm.
Hey, hey Siri, show me my screen time.
Here we go. Moment of truth.
Oh, she afraid she can't do that. Hold on.
Ah,
They gotta be general. You know how to check it?
I have a widget for it. I'm not sure.
Uh,
I usually just have it on my main screen. Let's see.
we ain't
I'm
gotta
at
know.
5 hours and 31 minutes right now.
Oh, is
That's
it on your main screen?
Well, I got a widget and I just put it on my main screen, so it's always there.
Damn, I don't want to know.
Yeah, that's right, right? Because
Let me see.
you have two phones, don't you?
Yeah, I do, but I've been turning off the other one. Oh, ooh.
Ooh.
What's yours you said?
I was at 5 hours and 31 minutes.
Is that for the day or is it daily average?
That's for the day.
Okay. See, it's showing I'm 8% down from last week,
Okay, okay.
but my daily average is 8 hours and 51 minutes.
Oh man. So you running podcasts in the background? YouTube
Yes,
videos?
yes, I sleep with YouTube videos on.
Yeah, that's how I am too. Gotta have something good in your ears.
Yeah, I like ASMR and all that stuff, all that weird stuff. You ever listen to that stuff?
Sometimes. I like podcasts. I mean, that's my go-to right now. I think
Yeah.
that's going to become a more interesting space as well. I think that there's so many content creators and business owners who should have podcasts but don't really know
Mm-hmm.
how do I go about this. Do you have any
Yeah.
insight to that?
Yeah, we're actually almost done our podcast studio. Actually, tomorrow is going to be our first official podcast studio in the Gordon Garage. So I work for an attorney, and they just built a huge podcast studio in the garage. So we're going to have the members of the firm coming in and out. We're going to have constant rolling of those podcasts. We got someone switching the flippers, and we're also gonna have like our own edits, and we're gonna bite off longer pieces to try and just keep that flooding. So I think if you don't have a podcast, you don't even have to call it a podcast. Just for that pressure and like, oh man, I don't know if I can stay consistent. Just get on and just record, some topics and just post. You don't have to call it a podcast if people feel held down, but I have heard of a few other people that getting involved with podcast studios. So I definitely think it's an easy way to get content out there and be you. You got to be you on these podcasts. That's the easiest thing, but
Mhm.
you also got to be careful, right? So it's fun though. I think it's very important, and it's the way you continuously can put stuff out there.
And for Gordon, what was that switch moment? How did he go from not creating content to creating content? Did he have to be persuaded or did something change within him or did he see the opportunity?
Oh no, Gordon's always been like the king of content. He started back with billboards and then TV, and then now he understands. He hired me as a full-time content creator because he saw the importance of it, right? So now we got a whole team, we got a whole kit of stuff because he understands the importance of content. So he's always leveling up. He's always thinking of the next thing. How do you stay on edge? How do you do this? And no one's got a podcast studio like this. So I think that's where, he's smart in the way he does things. He's going to have people in there. It's going to incorporate the brand. Big influencers will come in and they'll post in the garage studio. So you just always got to find a way to stay top of mind. And every time they open their phone, they're going to see you, they're going to hear you. So you just got to be everywhere on every front.
Awesome. Sounds good. Last question. I mean, just wrapping up this podcast. What's kind of your vision for this year? Kind of what do you want to be focused on? Kind of where's your mental at for this year going into it? And kind of wrapping things up, where can people find you and contact you?
Yeah, man. I think going into this year, I'm starting to get a little more creative. I want to keep my creative energy going, try and make content that is a little thought provoking, but also try and skit out some things. I like the skits. I think it'd be cool to get a little more creative, a little more deeper than we know the game is volume. So I just want to have patience. I want to take it day by day. I don't want to stress out about the next thing, and just roll with it and create off of whatever is in front of me at that time. So you can find me on YouTube and Instagram, Tailored Technique. I don't know if you'll be able to find me on TikTok after Sunday, but if you can, I'm on TikTok too. So appreciate you having me, man. It was really good talk. I love those questions, man. Really good.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Be sure to check out the links in the description for Taylor's information, YouTube, TikTok, if they're still there, like he's saying, Instagram. He's easy to contact, easy to reach out to. Definitely a pleasure of a conversation as well. So be sure to reach out to him, and we'll see you guys in the next one.